following recent attacks on Intercape buses allegedly by the taxi industry. President Cyril Ramaphosa has been called in to intervene. Over the last year, there have been over 150 recorded violent incidents which led to serious injuries to staff and passengers. Recently, an Intercape bus driver was gunned down outside the company's Cape Town depot. In Gauteng, 3 more buses and 2 drivers were injured following attacks. eNCA's Monique Mortlock is following that story and joins us now for an update. So, Monique, does Intercape have a plan to deal with these attacks?
Intercape's plan right now is to call on government for intervention. Intercape CEO Johan Ferreira told me earlier today he's been writing to President Cyril Ramaphosa because he believes this is a crisis, not only a crisis that impacts Intercape but also other long-distance bus operators. He says that because Intercape is a tax-paying company, that the SAPS should be doing everything in its power to help in the situation. And as you mentioned there, Intercape believes that the minibus taxi industry is behind it. And as you mentioned, a bus driver, his name is Bangikaya Matkana, he was shot on the 25th of April, just as he was leaving the Cape Town depot where we were a little earlier today. And his colleague was telling me that Matkana actually saved his life because he was going to drive. And he asked Matkana if he could drive. And Matkana said, yes, he will drive. And it was then that that an assailant stopped in front of the bus and fired directly at the taxi driver. Intercape does say that it will put certain security measures in place, that it is speaking to a private security firm, maybe looking at a security vehicle driving with the buses. But let's just take a listen to Johan Ferreira speaking a bit more about the situation that Intercape is in.
They will just start throwing stones at a bus or start shooting at a bus, and then they will call you in a meeting and tell you you must adhere to their demands. You can only depart at certain times. You're not allowed to offload and load in certain towns. So they want to predict your operation. They want to effectively neutralize the long-distance bus operators and force the public of South Africa into the taxis. You cannot run a company.
Of course, Intercape is not mincing its words, Monique, in as far as who they believe is behind these attacks. Johan Ferreira saying yesterday that this is sheer terrorism and laying the blame squarely at the doorstep of the taxi industry. Now, what's that industry got to say about these allegations?
I must say that it's been a struggle trying to get anyone from Santaco to speak to us. We know that they are the mother body here in the Western Cape and across the country when it comes to the taxi industry. I've been struggling for some reason to get a hold of its chairperson, who's usually always happy to speak to us. So I don't know if he just simply doesn't want to speak to us about this topic or if he was possibly busy. But I tried several times over the course of the last 2 days to get a hold of him. The Provincial Transport Department has stated that it is premature to place any blame at anyone's feet, especially at the feet of the minibus taxi industry, as this hasn't yet been proven, and they have called on the SAPS to conduct investigations to bring the criminals to book. They've also just called for calm, and I have managed to get a hold of some long-distance taxi bus drivers in the Paarl area, and I spoke to the Mbukweni taxi rank manager, Siyabulela Mjuleni, a little earlier, and this is what he had to say.
What came up on my mind, I asked myself a question, why is only Intercape that is being attacked buses? Because there are companies that are using the same route. And for the as for the taxi guys, I don't see any interest for us, because we take the people to the rural area, they don't take the people to the rural area, they drop the people to the town. Then the taxi guys, they take the people from town to rural areas, you see. So I don't see any reason that can the taxi guys attack the buses, really. I don't see any reason.
All right, thank you for that update. That's eNCA's Monique Mortlock updating us on that concerning situation around attacks on long-distance buses that have been taking place over the last while, with Intercape saying that over 150 they've counted in the last 13 months or so. And of course, the latest was fatal.